Hi there, welcome back. As you can probably hear, I'm still a little bit poorly, but we needed to get a video out to you because we've missed a couple. So this is the voiceover, so sorry about the sound of my voice. Hopefully you can still understand me. We went shopping on Temu and fell down a bit of a rabbit hole like you do. This is not a sponsored video by them. We have paid and ordered for all these products ourselves, but here we go, just showing you some bangles that have been designed and made by Wayne, who is one of the other creators here at Lottie, Jasmine Designs. These will be coming in a video hopefully sooner rather than later, the creation video and so on. Stay tuned, hit the notification bell and you'll see what happens. So this is the first 3 packages that came out of a very large bag that arrived literally a few days ago, which cheered us all up because we were still really feeling pretty sick, to be honest, pretty poorly. They've all got the same effect. They're described as 3 molds. We've bought them separately, and it is a rectangle, a square and a round shaped one. Now they're described as having a leather look, but to me it's like a pebble on the top there, or a mottled look, or you might even get away with perhaps a bit of a druzy description for it. It's made of good quality silicone, this mould. It's got the usual grid supports, and look at that detail along the top there. Be interesting to see, sorry, excuse me, if that comes out as a wave pattern or little sort of like balls, I think. You should be able to use this for resin and also for eco pores. So that was the rectangle shaped one. Sorry, a bit of brain fog going on as well. And this is the square one. Same sort of construction as the rectangle one, all made by this company, which my hand is obscuring at the moment, but yeah. They just look stunning. I can't wait. I mean, mica powders dusted in it, metallic powders, chameleon flakes, glitter, or just clear resin or alcohol inks, or even a solid block. Oh, in a Chesterfield green. Do you know what I mean by that? Or a real racing green, British racing green colour. These would look lovely, particularly in a study or an office or a man cave, dare I say, which is basically, I think, a posh shed for a man. Anyway, moving on. This is the circle one. By the way, do you like the backdrop? I hope you do. That is a sample of wallpaper, and I just thought it was a bit different, you know. I do quite like looking at wallpapers because we're obviously renovating our home still as well, so looking for ideas. But I thought rather than just have our silicone mat that you're looking at, why not have something a bit more pretty? Anyway, going back to this mould, again, so you see here, it's got, I think that's actually like faceting around the edges. Yeah, it's like faceting, I think, around the edges. So we'll be interesting to see how it comes out. Same sort of leather look or mottled or druzy-like finish. And again, brilliant with resin and eco pores. So that's the 3 of those. Sorry, excuse me. Moving on to the next one. Now, I didn't realise, oh, by the way, this video is rather lengthy, so I'm hoping that you've got yourself a cup of tea or coffee, cold drink, maybe some snacks, just relaxing, watching us do this, hopefully. I understand, we appreciate it's a rather lengthy video. I think it's the longest one we've ever done, but we do appreciate you watching it. And if you're taking part in the live chat, if we've premiered this with the live chat, thanks for joining us. Right, so this is a pot mould with a lid. It's flexible, but it is sturdy enough so that when you pour the resin in, it will hold its shape. You've got the usual grid support at the bottom there. Beautiful sort of pleated, fluted look to the outside. And what I think is some beautiful flowers. And look at this on the lid. Hopefully it'll come into focus. There we go, please, any moment. There we are. A beautiful little flower knob on top of the lid. So again, that would look stunning. That reminds me of petticoats. I don't know why. And lace, the flowers along the top being the lace, and the beautiful sort of pleated sections there as being, well, pleats, I suppose. But I really, really liked that one, so we couldn't not order that. As I said, this is not sponsored by Temu. We paid for all of these ourselves. We just we just wanted to have, I don't know. I suppose because we've done pretty well in what is just less than or just over a year of being live on YouTube, we wanted to just treat ourselves. So we thought, why not? And look at this. Now, this reminds me of those really fancy garden urns or pots that you can have in your garden. It would be fantastic as a soap dish. Oh my gosh, bath bombs. Or a dish to put in cotton wool balls, or sweets, bonbon dishes. But look at all that detailing. The ribbing along the bottom to those beautiful big flowers. It looks pretty sturdy. Now, I haven't for the life of me got a clue as to what this is for. So I am going to have a little look back on the order and find the item on their website and find out exactly what that is for. Because I said, I haven't got a clue. No clue as to what that's for. And then here's the lid. You've got a lovely scallop detail going around the outside there. I like that very much. Sturdy supports again, so for when the resin is curing, you know, you're not going to have an issue. And a bit of detail there as well on the knob part of the lid. Would look beautiful in crystal clear resin. So it does give the effect of being like cut glass crystal. Very 1920s through to 1950s era, perhaps. Bit wobbly, that. Yeah, but look at that. Hopefully you'll get an idea, some sort of impression as to how this would look. So, here we go again. As I said, we went a little bit crazy. As you will see, this video is 52 minutes long. But look at this. Now this, hopefully that's coming out. You can see it. Now this reminds me of broderie on glaze lace. It's the kind of beautiful, it's like cut out lace usually made out of cotton, edged. But look at the detailing. It's gorgeous. Quite often, certainly when I was little, now that was in the 1960s, I might add, and 70s and 80s, and I think it's still, you see it now every now and then. It used to be a lovely lace trim to put around the ends of little girls' dresses or the tops of socks and things like that. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. This, just hoping all the detail will come out well if you use just resin in it. But you could use, there's nothing to say you couldn't use Eco Pores. Again, it's got the grid, supporting grid along the bottom and the additional bits here. Look at that faceting on the outside, the detail, the ribbing on the inside, and the little rounded knob part there of the lid. That will look absolutely beautiful, whether you use just crystal clear resin or coloured resin, whether it's opaque or clear, or whether you add a little touch of glitter perhaps, or if you decide to dust it with mica powders, metallic powders, or chameleon flakes. Now, this is a set of 3. They're not sold as a set. I actually bought them separately, but when you look on Temu's website, you can see all 3 of them pictured together, and that is what I fell in love with. This lovely supports again on the lid sections. It did confuse me a bit because the lids were wrapped separately to the main parts of the mould, but located those. I like it. It's got a sort of half moon shaped piece on top of the lid, so that's where you put your fingers, you grab that and you pull the lid off. They were advertising them as candle moulds. So obviously you make your pot and then you make your mould candle in it. Now that's totally up to you if you want to do that, absolutely fine. But we don't make candles. We were just attracted by the design. So here we have these 3 pots. Now at first glance I thought, oh my gosh, I've ordered 2 exactly the same. But I haven't, but I do love this line detail. We've seen a few moulds for coasters that have got these in like an arch shaped design, but I've never seen them like this, and I just love them. I know on the Temu website, I think they've got them made out of Ecopore or concrete type, medium. You could use them for that. Absolutely no issue with that. But we really liked them. I want to see what they look like in resin. Resin is really our thing. And yeah, just want to see what we can do, what we can make with them, what we can do to emphasize that beautiful patterning on the bottom there of those lovely vertical lines, all culminating, as you can see, they start off small and they gradually get a bit longer till they get to the central point, and then they go up smaller again. Now this was the next one. These are all the same sort of shape, by the way, and size. And we've got the same thing, but all we've got is we've got some vertical lines just going all the way, sort of 3/4 of the way down the outside of the pot. The lids are all exactly the same, by the way. But this would look lovely. Nice as a dressing table set. Just nice as a little set that you can put pots in. Nothing to say you can't put candles in them. You could put votive candles. You could put tea lights in them. Totally up to you. You could use them as little vases and put like a very big headed, like a full bloom headed rose in it. That would look beautiful with a short stem, obviously. Now this is the final one in this range, and it's got an arch shape to it, a rounded arch shape on the outside with the lines. There we go, there's the lines. And it's a bit art deco-y to me, but it's also quite modern, sort of this, 21st century, this current century we're in, rather than being 1920s, 30s, which is my favourite decades, those two, for things like interiors and style. But no, I thought it's a sort of a nod to there, and also something that's really quite modern too. So it wouldn't look out of place in any home, really. But those three as a set, whether you have them together or in different rooms, or you just opt to make one of them, would be great. Now, these are just called plate moulds, believe it or not. I think they're called plate moulds, but we've got one on its own on the right, and then this one here now, which I'm showing you, which is a set of two. And you know what it's like. You go online, you order these things, then you wait anything up to a couple of weeks for them to be delivered, and you don't necessarily remember exactly what they look like. But this is the set of two. It's got a sort of very shiny, uneven edge. I liked it because of the uneven edge. It's also dipped in, so the uneven edge part is beautiful. It will be slightly raised. It's got a grid support to it, so you shouldn't have anything with the weight of the resin in it. You shouldn't have it dipping down while it's curing. It's got quite a lot of support there. If you're worried at all about any of that, then you can always pack out those little sections with some kitchen roll paper or some newspaper folded up. That's up to you, should you decide to do that. But yeah, I mean, around those edges, it's just crying out to be dusted with gold metallic powder. Or gold mica powder, and then you could have the rest of it completely clear, or you could do it white. Yeah, there was a design of crockery or dinner serviceware. I cannot remember the name. It might have been Royal Dalton, perhaps. And they were white with a very thin gold line on them. Gosh, this is memories from childhood memories, going shopping with my mum. Anyway, it just reminds me, maybe that thinking of the gold and the white just reminded me of that. But then this is the other one that goes with this, because this was a set of two, slightly bigger, and yeah, just exactly the same as the smaller one. So there we are. And again, all the lovely supported grid parts there, which usually come with these moulds. Good quality silicone, but like everything, make sure you take care of your moulds, make sure you store them carefully. Don't use anything with sharp edges on it, because obviously it will scratch and mark your mould. Make sure that you don't use naked flames with your moulds, because resin will then literally adhere so much to the mould that you will not be able to remove it. You didn't want to burn the moulds. So this is the other one. This is the singular one. Now this is different. It doesn't have that beautiful ultra shiny, sort of almost druzy look to the edges. It's still ultra shiny, and it's a bit like maybe the shape of a roundish sort of cloud. I'm probably not describing it very well, but it is raised up slightly, so it is still described as being a plate mould. And it looks like it goes up sort of gradually in steps or layers. That will become clear once we actually use this in a project and show you what we mean. Now, you could use this You could make it, and then you could put, I would probably put some of the lovely little protector feet on the bottom that you can get, the little plastic ones or the little felt ones. And you could then use it as something to stand a vase on. So with that in mind, you could just do this in clear resin. You could do it in opaque pigmented resin. You could do it with glitter. I mean, the world's your oyster, really, with all of these projects and molds that we talk about in this video today. There's so many options. It's going to just feel a bit like I'm repeating myself, so I apologise for that. But these will look absolutely gorgeous, no matter where they're put, no matter if it's in your home, your office, your bedroom, your kitchen, conservatory, or wherever. Now, we did also get some of these. These look like little half circles in gold. We got some in silver. They're a variety of different sizes. You could try and put these rounded side down. Now, make sure you put them rounded side down into the outer edge of this mould. Pour in your resin first, a little bit of resin. Wait till it's gone almost tacky, put those down, and then pour the resin, and it would look stunning. Is that the first time I said stunning? Anyway, moving on. More plate moulds. Yeah, you guessed it. Made by that same company that made the leather look finished trio set of moulds from earlier. Now these, they do remind me of flowers. Look at all the rippling, the detail on the edge of this. This mould, I must admit, I thought was defective when I first looked at it like this, because it looked like it was stuck. And I thought, how on earth am I going to get that apart? But anyway, it's got grid support lines. We probably will pack out the bottom of this one though, but when we pour resin in, before we pour resin into it. But as you can see there, I'm having a bit of an issue. And it was just literally because of the suction off the outer bit of the mould onto the inner part. It's ultra shiny. This again reminds me of dessert plates, fruit plates, things like that. If you've ever been for afternoon tea anywhere, reminds me a bit of maybe something that you would see perhaps on a cake stand. And actually these in a cake stand design would look really, really good. Really, really good. So you might see that in a future video. But I really, really like this one. Not going to take a lot of resin because it's not a deep mould at all. So it'll be interesting to see. And I will obviously have a chat with Wayne, who is a fellow designer and creator here at Lottie Jasmine Designs, to see what he thinks. See how does he think we should try and use these. Could you imagine if you could do like a bloom effect with it? Wow. That might be a bit difficult though, because it does raise up slightly. I'm not sure if anybody's ever tried doing that before. Not that I've seen. Maybe give us a comment as to whether or not you've seen anybody trying to do a bloom resin project in something that's not completely flat. Might be worth a try. Let us know what you think in the comments. So that's that one. Moving on, there's another one. Now this one, I love it. Again, there's so much detail. It's not completely round on the outside. It's got that beautiful natural petal-like finish. It is very shiny on the inside. Again, won't take a lot of resin because it's not deep. It's got the grid supports and the round support there, so it should be absolutely fine whilst your resin is curing. But it does remind me more, perhaps this one, of a sunflower. If you can imagine it, with the yellow on the outside, the different yellows and creams, and then the much darker brownish black on the inside. So this one again, as I say, I think we're just a bit obsessed with some of these molds. This again is a stepped, and it's not layered, it's a stepped mould. So it goes up in different levels. So you pour your resin. It's always very difficult to try and describe this, but hopefully you can see that where I'm just showing you there. It goes up. So then when you demold it, you'll see from this side, it'll have a slight, now is it concave or convex? I can never remember which one is where it's inverted in or sticking out. But anyway, basically it slopes down slightly. So you could have it as a trinket tray, or you could have it as an irregular shaped bowl type tray perhaps. Yeah. So this one, I have seen people using, maybe not this mold, but a very, very similar one. It's beautiful. It's a little bit Baroque style in its shape and design and the detail. Again, I like it because it's not just a square or a rectangle or a circle. It's something a little bit different. And yeah, it's good quality silicone that it's been made from, but we will be extra specially careful when using these. Obviously, because you're buying cheaper molds from Temu, they aren't necessarily going to stand up to the amount of usage that perhaps a mold that you would have paid a lot more money for will. Bear that in mind when you're buying these. But, you know, you never know till you try, I say. But look at this. So look at the scroll work there on the outside edges. This would look beautiful just in an eco pour, just a white one, and then maybe if you've got some gold gilding wax, just to go around those edges, just to lift the highlight those lifts of those scrolls and the detailing. Also fantastic in resin. It reminds me very much of the mirror we have in our hallway, which was gifted to us by my mother, which we did upcycle. It is cream coloured, painted, and then it's got gold leaf, and it's got gold leaf on all the raised detail parts. Anyway, this is quite sturdy. It's got all the usual support things there to make sure that, you know, your project stays as it should do in the shape it should be whilst it's curing. But yeah, a very good mould, a decent size as well. I mean, you could use it. You could use it as a very fancy coaster. Why not? But it would look just as beautiful next to your bedside tables or nightstands, or in a dressing room to put your jewellery on. When you take it off at night, you put it on the side. You know, it's just lovely and a lot of detail. Something that's simple but beautiful is quite often the best thing. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous scroll work. Can't wait to try it in with lots of different ideas for this one too. But yeah, really, really looking forward to using this one once we're all better, of course. Anyway, these three molds. Now they are shells. You'll have to forgive me because I can't remember exactly what these shells are called. I've got a brain fog with this sickness, this awful cold that I've got at the moment. But we've got shell moulds, like probably a lot of you may have. We've got the scallop shell moulds. We've got the conch shell moulds. We've got a starfish mould. But we saw these. I've never seen them in this size. All three of them bought individually. Yeah, they just look gorgeous. So this is the first one. Now, slightly different silicone this. This is white to the outside. Bit concerned about the joining line, I have to say, along the edge. A little bit concerned. Hoping, I did have a quick look on the inside. I can't see it on the inside, so it shouldn't mark it. But look at the edge. I mean, the edge is going to be, it's not just going to be just completely crisp. It's going to be up and down. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But look how shiny and glossy that is with the detail. As I say, I'm really sorry. I cannot remember what this kind of shell's called. Yeah. Not native to the shores in the UK. Certainly not. More tropical climes, I think this has come from. But it's beautiful. Would look lovely in any beach-themed room that you may have, or a bathroom, or in a conservatory. What I should also say is that this can also be used, rather than just be using to store things in or just a decorative piece. There's nothing stopping you from putting a miniature succulent plant in it. Once you've made it, whether you use EcoPore or resin, you can put a succulent plant in there. So that's just a small succulent plant. It doesn't usually take a lot of care, doesn't have to have particularly great soil or anything like that, and it looked beautiful. This is the next shape. Now this is the size of my hand. I don't have small hands. I have large hands, as you can see there. It's the size of one of my hands. Beautiful. This I can see, and in fact I think I have seen it in interiors magazines, on shopping websites, made out of silver or silver plate, or probably just a bit of, painted resin or plastic, where it's done as a serving bowl. So don't forget, if you're going to use anything that you make to put food in, make sure that you use food grade resin. And then, to be honest with you, I would not put anything in this that isn't covered in a wrapper. So I'd only ever use it for things like wrapped sweets and things like that. The one thing I'm concerned about here that I'm just showing you is that the support parts for this do not go all the way down to the bottom of the mould. They're only across the top there, which is, great. But I'm a bit concerned about the weight of the resin just pushing that centre bit down. So what we will definitely do with this one is we will pack it out underneath with paper, kitchen paper towel, or a sponge maybe, or something like that, to make sure it holds its shape. This is the third one. Look at the detail here. This, I think, is the conch shell. Apologies if I'm incorrect there. But that's a stand support for it. There's no other support in there apart from those. So if you're a bit wary of not having any other way of supporting it, then pop something around it, whether it's some cans of food or something like that, once you've poured your resin in, just to make sure, just up against it, just to make sure that, it gives it a bit of support, a little bit of extra help, so that it doesn't become misshapen when the resin is curing. But this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. If I go quiet, it's either because I'm trying to stifle coughing, or it's because I'm just lost for words, to be honest. So that was the 3 beautiful shell moulds. Now, this is also a set of 3. Now, this did come as a set. We have an oblong, a rounded oblong trinket tray. Standard sort of mould. I should imagine most of you have seen these. We've got a lot of videos where we've used this kind of tray. This is smaller than the kind that we usually use. If you haven't seen us use it, or you've never used one before, why not hop on over to our playlist and you'll be able to see lots of videos where we've used it. Quite straightforward. You do your decoration, you do your design, or you just pour your resin in. Let it cure, demould, job's done. Usually beautiful results every single time. So you've got that. So you imagine that you've done your tray. Then in the tray is this beautiful round fluted edged and ribbed pot. Look at that. I think when I saw these, I was really thinking about the sorts of things I used to see on my granny's dressing table when I was little, and we used to sort of pop over to see our grandparents and we go and stay with them, and remembering being fascinated by the little glass sets that she used to have, little cut glass sets for putting things in. I was never really aware of what she put in them, just the fact she'd have her tray and then she'd have maybe 1 or 2 of these lovely little pots, sometimes with a lid, sometimes not. And she'd keep things like cotton wool balls in them, or Q-tips or cotton wool buds and things like that. So yeah, so beautiful. So if you imagine, you've made your tray, you've made your pot's going to sit there or on the other side. Then there's this one, and it just matches. It's the same sort of detailing. It's got a lid. Beautiful thing. Now, there is a join in the mould, and I was a bit wary. I was hoping it wasn't on the inside, so sort of upon checking, I don't think it is. I'm really hoping it's not. But it will match, once you demould it, it will match the pot that doesn't have the lid. And here's the little lid that goes with it. So this, again, would look like lovely on a dressing table, whether you've got a more modern or contemporary home, or perhaps something that is a bit more oldie-worldy. It would also still look beautiful in concrete. If you did, I say concrete. Obviously, I'm not talking about building concrete. Eco-pores, that sort of thing. So it would still look beautiful. And why not? You can do masculine themed designs. You could do more your feminine themed designs. There's lots of things. Now look at these. Now I have seen an artist recently, and my apologies, I cannot remember her name. But she used these moulds, and I knew they were big, but I didn't realise they were this size. They're huge. They're huge. Yeah. Beautiful pair of swans, whether it's Daddy Swan and Mummy Swan, or whether it's the Mummy Swan and the Baby Swan. They are big. I mean, you just saw my hands on them there. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the size. They're not joined together. They are two separate moulds. They are lovely. They are quite shiny and glossy on the inside. They've got these sort of stand supports all the way. But again, like I've said before, if you want to give them a bit of extra support whilst they're curing, particularly up around where the necks are, then just put something next to them. Put something up next to them that will fit in. They should be absolutely fine. The artist I saw on, I think it was YouTube doing this, she put some clear resin in. One had a pearlized white colour, one was black, and they had these beautiful mother of pearl shells, shell pieces in it. Looked absolutely gorgeous when she'd done it. Now, you could put the very thin string lights in these and have them as night lights. They look gorgeous in a nursery. They'd look gorgeous anywhere in your home. Or you could, as Wayne's suggestion was, use them as bookends on a mantelpiece, bookshelf, in a windowsill. They would just look stunning anywhere at all. Yeah. Lovely, 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 and beautiful, beautiful swans. We've got one more thing coming that's also swan related, which we'll show you in a moment. But yes, so as I said, lots and lots of options here. You could try and make them completely with your artistic license, or you could try and go a bit more true to life, perhaps, with shading with mica powders if you've got different shades of whites and greys. Maybe a little bit of black, maybe a bit of the yellow for the beak. Totally up to you. Or you could have them all in gold. Or you could be more avant-garde, like we've gone here and used these kinds of colours, like I used in a bangle recently. No creation video with that one though, I'm afraid, as that is a commission piece. But just thought I'd show you that. So you don't have to go traditional white or black. You can go purple and gold and pink. Totally up to you. Your artistic license is whatever you want it to be. But these are absolutely stunning. So this is the other swan-like, I suppose you'd say it. It's a pot with a lid. This is the lid. Not a lot of detail. Not a lot of detail at all. I think this was more like your typical 1950s cut glass crystal pot that you'd see in a lot of houses maybe from that era. Whether it is on a mantelpiece or on a table, or maybe just they bring it out special occasions. But it's got a base, which is the lower part of the body, and the top, obviously, which is the wings and the neck and the head. So with the base, again, it's a slightly different type of resin. You can see a little bit of detail there. And this does remind me certainly of the cut glass that you can get from the 1950s, 60s, maybe even the 1940s. I've forgotten the proper term for it, but definitely from those eras. It will be interesting to see what this looks like in completely clear resin. Or maybe you just make up clear resin and you add in a few little, maybe 1 or 2 drops of alcohol ink to colour it. So again, it is completely see-through, but it's coloured. So yeah, just looking forward to perhaps making these not just in clear resin, so it's colourless, but perhaps with the tiny bit blue or pink or green or purple. I mean, you could have them whatever colour you wanted. But yeah, no support grids in these, so possibly a bit of a concern there, depending on the weight of the resin. Yeah, maybe we would probably would pack that out before pouring the resin into it. So that's the base. This is the lid. Now there you can see it coming up for the wings and the front of the body, the tail, and also the head. First glance at that reminds me of some of those large, have you seen the cockerel or the chicken dishes made out of china that you can get, that some people keep their eggs in? Quite popular in a lot of like more of your farmyard country style kitchens. Nothing to stop you from doing a similar effect with this, I suppose. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one actually comes out. But yeah, it looks like the top part is solid. So it's only the bottom part that's a pot. This top part will be solid. A little bit of tidy up needs to be done on this mould. I don't know if you can just see a slight uneven edge around the top there. That's fine, that's easily done, either with a little pair of scissors, or there is a little tool that you can buy now, which we don't have yet, where you can use it and it just trims up the outside edge. But there's the top and the bottom of the mould. It'd be interesting to see how this comes out. No ducks in this mould, in this particular video though. Haven't found any moulds for ducks yet. That might be quite cute to do as well at some point. But yeah, I do like that. It did remind me very much of 1930s to 50s, that sort of era with their glassware that they used to have on tables and things in houses. But yes, so very soon we will move on. Sorry, bear with me with my clearing of my throat. As I say, apologies again if you're just tuning in now and you've come to this bit and thought she's clearing her throat a lot. We've had an awful bout of a summer cold, head cold, sinus congestion and everything else. Well, you know, I'm sure that all of you have had this at some point or another, but absolutely wiped us out. Anyway, we thought we'd do this video, so I've tried to get my voice good enough and get it back well enough so that I could do this voiceover for you. So there we go. Anyway, so moved on past the swan mould. There's this one now. This I've seen a few times pop up. It pops up on your feed that comes up saying you might like this. And I keep looking at it and I think the thing that attracts me to it is, one, it reminds me of tablecloths. It does remind me of a tablecloth, obviously upturned currently. It's got your usual things that you expect with Temu moulds. It's got the supportive grid bit there. This is opaque. This is an opaque silicone mould, so you can't see through it currently. If you're using a dark coloured resin, you'd see it gradually filling up the mould. But it's very fluid. It's got a very fluid design to it. It does look like a round table with a tablecloth on it. Hopefully you're following along with me. Allow me this little bit of whimsy, please. But why not also use it at Halloween? Because this is a bowl, by the way. Because not this way up, but the other way up, a little bit like a ghost, perhaps. So yeah, just my thoughts, you know. But yeah, I can't wait to use this. As long as you use food safe resin, it'll be fine to put things in it that are like a fruit bowl. As long as it's not, I wouldn't recommend eating desserts out of it, like trifles and stuff like, or ice cream. I wouldn't. Obviously, this is rather large as well. If you're going to do that, unless you're particularly hungry or you really like trifle and ice cream. Anyway. Sorry, excuse me. Let's get off the track of food. I am starting to feel a bit hungry. Hopefully you did all remember to get yourself a drink and some snacks whilst watching this rather lengthy video. Thank you if you are still watching with us, tuned in or joined us in the live chat. We do really appreciate it. Also understand the fact that you might watch up to a certain point, pause it and then come back at a later time and look at it again. Now, a little bit of a break from the moulds. We did buy some things that weren't moulds. Shocker. There's a surprise. we bought some bits and bobs that you could use as tools for using with resin, or with projects that we do that we found have been useful, or things that you can put in resin. Now, I fell in love with these flowers. They are made of fabric. They aren't paper, they are made of fabric. Now, I did fall in love with them. I didn't realise they had little tubes of plastic on the back of them. Now that plastic is there so that you can get, if you've got the rigid wire stems that you can buy from floristry supplies and things like that, you basically put a tiny bit of glue on the end and then you pop it into the bit of plastic that's on the back of the flower, let it set, let it glue up completely, and you've got a flower then that you can use. So this is what I mean about the plastic parts. So this is a much easier way of showing you these. I like the colours. They're very what I call, this is going to sound really bad, washed out vintage look, if you know what I mean, like faded, naturally faded. So there's the cream one with that beautiful bluey whitish grey centre. I am going to chop a little bit off the plastic bit off the bottom of those, because I'm not going to be using them. I'm not going to be putting wire to them and trying to use them in garlands and table decorations. But of course you could do that. Of course you could. Our idea is to flatten them out. I mean, look how beautiful this is. And either put them as earrings, but set them in resin and in earrings or necklaces or bracelets, or in bowls and things like that. That's our thought process for these. Now, they were a bit squished, should we just say, and squashed. So with these ones, I have just gently teased the petals out. I bought 3 packs. There's 50 in a pack, so we've got 150 in total. They were very reasonably priced. You'll probably realise I haven't said any of the prices, and to be honest with you, it's just because I can't remember them, and it is quite an effort just to do this voiceover rather than try and remember all the prices as well. But as I said before, this is not sponsored by Temu. This is just, we thought we'd do an unboxing of our latest shopping spree on that website. So this is that plastic part I was saying about. That I'm going to trim down. As I said, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You might want to add them to some oasis as a design, perhaps a centerpiece. Why not? I mean, floral decorations for hair, for weddings, special occasions, anything like that, as buttonhole pieces or corsages. There's a lot of things that you can do with these. Now, this, I showed you the gold ones earlier on. I can only call them half circles. I don't know what you'd call them really, or balls, half balls. There we are. Not circles, Laura. Of course they're circular shape, but they've got a flat back, and they advertise them, I think, as being used in if you're making fashion jewellery. So here are the silver ones. So as you can see, there's a variety of sizes. They've got a rounded top and a flat back. So actually, if you just wanted, sorry, I'm moving it slightly out of shot there, which is not great. If you wanted to make them into some little stud earrings, be ideal. You just need to get your earring finding with the stud and the backing, glue this this finding to your earring back, and a little butterfly to go on the back of it, and you're done, aren't you? You've got a beautiful set of little stud earrings. Alternatively, you could glue them to the tops of lids for dishes or pots or beautiful boxes, perhaps. We have tried recently. You won't have seen the videos yet because they're still not finished. Unfortunately, we were taken ill whilst doing that. We're trying to make some beautiful, different shaped decorative boxes with wooden bases, but hopefully that'll come soon in a video, and maybe we'll use some of these to decorate. So we also bought some tweezers. Now, I don't know about you. We always think we've got tweezers, and then when you go to try and find them to use them, you can't find them. But we bought 2 pairs. So this is a pair in pink, because I fancied the pink. And these are slightly rounded, as you can see there. And then you've got a pair that there's the straight ones. So we're going to use these in jewellery making. Nothing to say you can't use them in the beauty field, you know, if you want to use them you know, if you want to remove hair from your face or whatever. But we also bought a pair in black. So 3 moulds. Now these were a lot bigger on the website, a lot bigger. So we've got a square, a round, and a sort of oval shaped one. And I thought they've either got a druzy top or a flower top. And I must admit, I did think they were a lot bigger. However, they would make the most beautiful little boxes, pill boxes. Now, hopefully you know that what I mean by a pill box. Very something that is maybe a little bit old-fashioned to some, and certainly if you're a lot younger than me, you've probably never heard of that term. But yeah, pill boxes. They're gorgeous. They just look lovely, a nice little trinket piece, little decorative piece. Now this silicone, I must admit, I don't like the feel of it. It's very thick and it just feels odd, jelly-like. But did you see what I mean there? It's a bit odd. The top, I couldn't understand whether it was druzy or flowers, but I've turned this one inside out and look at that detail. It's definitely flowers on the lids, because I can't get over the detail in these. These are tiny, tiny, minuscule miniature moulds. And if the amount of detail that's in those comes out when the finished pieces, they will be beautiful. Now look, there we go. This is the round one. And look, you see, you've still got, now those, I'm sure those are flowers, or the idea, it's a hint, it's a suggestion that they are there. So that's the lid and the base of that one. And then finally this one, which is a bit bigger, sort of ovally shaped, I think. Again, here's the lid. Hopefully you can see it. There we go. Here's the lid with the flowers. They look beautiful. And then the base part of it. There you go. Definitely flower detail on that. Oh, it just amazes me in the fact that they've managed to get that much detail, considering this silicone itself that they've used is very, very thick. But as you can see there, they're very small, very small, but very diddy and just gorgeous. Be lovely as a nice little keepsake to give to somebody, a little thank you. Maybe if you're having a wedding or you know somebody, and you might want to suggest it to them as it's being their bridal favours, perhaps. That would be stunning. Not big enough to put a little bit of cake or anything like that in, and I wouldn't recommend that you put cake in these, but in the finished pieces, obviously not in the moulds. But if you wanted to give a little present to a bridesmaid or your ushers or your groomsmen, or best man, chief bridesmaid, whatever, if you make one of those and then put whatever you've bought for them in it and wrap that, that's just beautiful. So here we have, now I should have shown you this when I showed you the 3 shells right back towards the beginning of this video. This is a starfish mould and I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I like the irregularity of the detailing on the outside. It's still good quality silicone. It's got the grid support divider system. And look at that. I mean, I don't know. It's going to give the uneven effect that you see on, the surface of starfishes. But obviously it is a trinket dish, so it does need to have a flat surface there, so that you can put all your little knickknacks, bits and pieces, or your jewellery, or whatever you decide to put in it. Look fabulous, that will. You could also possibly, rather than have it as a starfish, treat it as a star, as from the night sky. So you could do it all in silver, rather than think, this is a starfish. You could treat it as a star from the sky instead. Either would look absolutely stunning. Christmas time as well, perhaps, in silver. This would look gorgeous as part of your centerpiece decoration. Right, so I just want to say thanks again. Please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. we do appreciate that it's a much more longer video than our usual videos. We've given you a couple of hints and some little sneaky previews like we're doing here now. These are these stunning, stunning bangles that have been made by Wayne. Unfortunately, he hasn't been well enough to finish the project yet, but this was very much hinted at one of our previous videos before we were poorly, to say, what do you reckon we could make with bangle molds that aren't bangles? So it will be coming up very, very soon as it's finished, edited, and the voiceover's done. So it might be a week and a half or so, perhaps. If we can get it to you quicker than that, we will do, just to show you what he's come up with. Obviously, beautiful as jewellery if that's what you want them for, but also you might be surprised. Guesses in the comments as to what you think he is going to make out of these bangles. So this is the final one, guys. You've probably had a little sneak preview there. It's pink coloured silicone, very, very pink, and it's two of exactly the same design. There you go. It's a carousel horse. Fell in love with these. They are a matte mould, as you can see there. They're pink. You could use them for fondant, or if you make cakes, or chocolates if you make chocolates. It's got a little toggle or peg thing there that creates a little eyelet hole, so if you wanted to make them as a hanging decoration, you could. We've seen these, obviously we've seen these advertised, and they had white on all these details, so the horse, the top of the carousel there, and the hanging piece in white, and then once that had cured, come back, and then with a contrasting colour they put the backing on, and then when you demold it, it has a punch, it sticks out, it looks beautiful, very much reminiscent of Wedgwood style cameos and cameo brooches. If you've ever seen those with the pale blue coloured background of the Wedgwood blue, and then the white, alabaster white coloured plaster of the cameo. So cameo traditionally would have been a portrait of your loved one, whether it was full face on, sideways on, but in this way I'm just thinking maybe we could adopt that similar sort of approach and use these in that way. These would look beautiful as hung up decorations on a Christmas tree or in a nursery. You know, obviously you could have, if you wanted to go traditional, blue for a girl, pink for a boy, or lemon colours, yellows, greys, whatever you want to do. So don't forget, guys, give us a thumbs up. Hope you've really enjoyed this video. Take care, everyone. We're on the road to recovery. We'll be back normally, business as usual. Sneak preview there of the bangles again, and take care. Bye bye.